A warm welcome to the Find Your Fire Tribe. Welcome to another Fire Friday with me, Wendy Oching, founder of Healing Spaces Caribbean and tribe mom of the Find Your Fire Tribe. For those of you who have done this before, as you know, every Friday we have a chi lifting adventure with somebody of interest. Today's guest is Dr. Maggie Chin Sue Min. She's one of our tribe members, and I'm so pleased that she's agreed to share with us her passion for nature and photography, all combined. So Maggie, I'm going to hand over to you. The stage is yours. Take it.
All right, thank you, Wendy, and hello to everyone who's live, as well as anyone who may be watching the replay. When Wendy asked me to talk about my passion, I was like, okay, I'm not sure what I'm going to be sharing with you all. So I figured, well, okay, well, I'll just talk about my little rekindling of my photography and my interest in nature. So my background is in both zoology as well as veterinary medicine and surgery. So I've always been interacting with animals in some form or fashion. So I will just let you know that all photos are mine. So they are copyrighted, and I haven't taken any photographs of any photograph things like Unsplash and that sort of stuff. All photographs are mine. So this is my day-to-day hat. I'm a small animal practitioner, and my main focus is on the health and welfare of the pets of my clients. And while I enjoy it, I found that I'm not as fulfilled as I would like to be. And in talking to various people, the main thing that kept coming up was, well, what brings you joy? What makes you smile? What makes you feel excited and happy? And I realized that it was this, nature. Because I think everyone in the tribe realizes just how much nature is refreshing, invigorating, and exciting. So I started back with my photography, amateur level, obviously. And I started in my backyard, which is a mini jungle in itself. So I decided, okay, let's see what I can find. So I went out taking photographs of whatever insects and such that I could find. And I started posting it in my own WhatsApp group with my friends. And it was because of this, one of my friends had a tiny ask of me. She was saying, oops. Did I undo that? Sorry.
No worries, you sorted it out beautifully.
All right, so one of my friends was looking at my photographs and said, hey, you know, there is a group on the iNatural site for pollinators and pests in Trinidad and Tobago. Would you like to share some of your contributions? So I said, yes, okay, fine. That sounds interesting. Let's see what I can find and what is actually on the community group already. So to do that, I had to become a member of the iNaturalist community. The iNaturalist community, if nobody knows about it, is an international scientific database of plants and animals. So as I said, it's international, so a lot of people contribute from all around the world. So I started my little journey on the iNatural site, found a new community of like-minded scientists who are curious and want to know things about plants and animals, and I found my new home. So my reconnection began with nature. So I started doing life cycles of butterflies and moths because they were the easiest things to find in my backyard. And with the assistance of one of the senior lepidopterists on the site, he pushed me to try and chronicle life cycles of certain things that I find in my backyard. So we have a little bougainvillea moth so we can see the caterpillar, the pupal stage, as well as the adult. That led and blossomed to full life cycles where I came across this little butterfly who laid some eggs. I started on my scientific journey, made a note of the numbers, the plants was on, and I chronicled the life cycle to larva, which actually has many stages, to the beautiful pupa, which is actually metallic colored and made me think about jewelry, and then the emergent adult. So I'm being fulfilled in the way of curiosity, and it brings me joy to see these things. Now, in rearing some of these things, you do come across ethical dilemmas, as in, do I take the eggs in, put it into an aquarium type breeding facility and continue to feed it, or do I just leave it in place undisturbed and just make my scientific notes? I chose the latter because, one, it was easy to just net off the area. I wasn't interfering with the organism in question. And it was a lot easier to raise them because the plant is there, the plant is alive. I don't always have to be looking for food sources and such. So for me, the ethics came in very strongly. So that became one of my values in my observations.
Margaret, I have to say, I agree with you. I would feel the same way. Let it grow where it wants to grow, where nature intended it to grow, and we just observe and don't disturb. So thank you.
Yeah, I know. Yes, because sometimes you can, capture animals, freeze them, or refrigerate them to slow them down and take photographs. I admit I did do that for a couple of what you call micro moths, but it did not feel good. So in doing this, I found I connected in unexpected ways. Let me see, will this video play? Hello.
That's beautiful. And it thinks it's your mommy, doesn't it?
Oh, another bit of a plant. It's a strange plant. Let's try this out. Because I do admit that my photography is just essentially my smartphone. I don't have any professional cameras and lenses and such because I felt that I wanted that closer connection with my subject. And what better way than to really be up in its face, so to speak.
Do you think that they consider you part of the furniture, part of the scenery, and they're not afraid of you when they come out, when they become butterflies? Is that what you're seeing?
Yes, yes, yes. Or even if not the recently emerged insects, the ones that I'm just being, if I go out in nature, I will just kind of sit very quietly and wait for something to come to me.
And they do, because perhaps, like they say, we are, as humans, aware when we're in utero. Perhaps when they are larvae and pupae, they're aware of this person around. Maybe they're getting your vibes early o'clock. So when they come out, they're not afraid of you. You're not a predator. Who knows?
Yes. Yeah, it could very well be. Plus, I'm also thinking that, if I'm more present in nature and maybe my vibrational level is the same as nature's, then it affords me the opportunity to interact a lot more intimately with the subjects in mind. So I think I posted one of these photographs.
Yes, you did.
I think over Easter time, because the butterfly, as I said, was just there waiting to be photographed. And I thought, well, okay, let me offer it my finger. And it happily hopped on. So I was like, wow, this is a real joy-making experience for me.
Mhm.
That it actually trusted me, yeah. Right, so on the iNatural site, it afforded me opportunities. I know you all wanted to find out what the big opportunities are, apart from being in a much closer connection with nature. On the iNaturalist site, I found that I made new connections with people and different types of people. During lockdown with COVID, one of the conservationists in the US decided he wanted to start a socially distant BioBlitz around the world. And he found me because he was looking specifically for people who posted regularly on the site, as well as he was looking to find as many people from around the globe as he could. So my name popped up. He approached me and asked, would you like to participate? So I said yes. And then on top of that, he not only wanted participants, he also wanted someone to help manage the actual BioBlitz, the actual days. So I said, great, why not? You know, here's a new opportunity. Let me see what this is about. So essentially, it was just a PR promotion to keep people engaged and interested in the actual event. So we do little blogs and such the week leading up to, and then on the day of, keep people interested by posting other observers' observations. And part of the opportunity was for whoever wanted, we could post your photographs. So these 3 photographs here in the banner are actually mine. Right. And it actually tells you there, the event banner photos are by me, if you don't believe me. All right, the other opportunities I found, like I said, iNaturalist is an international site. So it was when I saw that one of my copyrighted photos was used as a taxon identification for this particular insect, it was like, wow, my photography is definitely there. Yay. And my photograph was good enough for whoever was managing this particular species to put it up as a quick identifier for anybody else who may be posting similar observations of the species.
Maggie, what camera are you using? What phone are you using? iPhone or Samsung or other?
I'm using Samsung. I have changed because this is on my old Samsung, but I am using a different Samsung right now. This was, I think, was on the J5 Prime, which is no longer in existence. And I switched over to the A22.
Okay.
And more opportunities rolled in. With my observations, I get a lot of requests to use my photographs to support other researchers' works. Once the works are published and they use my photograph, I get credit for the photographs. So just like in any other, I guess, creative industry, if somebody asks you, well, can I use either your article or your artwork or whatever, it's what? It's a feel, you know, it's such a feeling of recognition, even though it may be a niche area, but it's
validating, yes?
Yes.
I get you.
Right. I've also been asked to do a small scientific article co-authoring on the Trinidad and Tobago Field Naturalist Journal. If anyone is interested, this is the link to the article. It's basically the life cycle of a butterfly that myself and another observer had seen on a particular plant. And again, the senior lepidopterist saw it and said, we want you to write and co-author an article with this other person. And if you do check out the article, you will see the photographs that I submitted as well as the article itself. Right? And because I was so busy with the socially distant BioBlitz and on iNaturalist, when the field naturalist decided to have a local backyard BioBlitz, my friend in Tobago said, I want to interview you. Let's do something to, again, inspire some of the young Tobago students. And she just wanted for me to let them know what a BioBlitz was and that sort of stuff. So I had my mini interview there with my friend. So the photography in nature has just opened up so many different areas to me, and it has given me all these various opportunities. And for me, from my scientific background, getting the request to use my photographs and even little short articles is very rewarding. So if you want to check out my body of work, I am on the iNaturalist site. My username is Maggie Chin, or anyone on Instagram can check me out at Margaret's Nature Photography. Right. And I will end off with my bat. And thank you for your time.
Maggie, do you have any other pictures to show us?
No, this is the last one. I do have a lot of photographs.
Well, what I would like is if you could stop sharing the screen, go find some of the other photographs on one of your websites and show us, because we have a few more minutes and I would love to see some. Yeah?
Okay.
Okay. And meanwhile, hi, June. You go ahead, Maggie. When you're ready, go ahead and share. Hi, June. Hi, Terry. Welcome. So happy to have you.
Hi, thank you. Sorry for being late.
No worries. No worries. You are here.
Hope ladies are doing well since I have missed out on a few episodes.
Well, I hope that you will be catching the replays, June, and I'm glad to see you today.
I do.
Yeah. So I'm asking Maggie to show any more pictures that she wants to share because she has some awesome stuff. But if you all have any questions for her, please go ahead. I'm checking the chat and I'm not seeing any questions, just a hello. Terry, it might be useful to have Maggie come and take some pictures in the backyard where you are.
Okay, let me see, I don't have a direct link to my other stuff, but I do have my personal file. So we have things like the grasshoppers. It will be a mixture. You will see a lot of different things. This is the little grasshopper in camouflage.
We're just seeing your list of files. We're not seeing any image.
Oh, you're not seeing my image?
Not yet.
Yes, so sorry. It says I'm screen sharing.
Yes, I'm seeing the screen, but your list of files. So I'm seeing Abrachis flavolineata is highlighted, but not seeing the picture.
I don't know why I'm not. Okay, I'm sorry. It's not sharing.
It is sharing. Just actually stop the share and then get the picture on board and then start the share again. Yeah.
Yes, Wendy, that's a great idea about having her take photographs in the garden.
Where you live.
Where I live. Yes.
All right.
All right. Are we talking? That's a handsome fella.
Yes, he's handsome, but he's also very small. I think these guys are just testing my vision as well as the macro lens on my phone. Yeah, this is a guy. This is a better idea of the size. So that's him hidden in there. Let's see if we can. This is another guy. I like these guys because they do a lot of camouflage, so I can easily demonstrate to people how animals can easily hide within plain sight.
Mhm.
This is another little one here. Okay. Right. Oh, this is my mosquito, would you believe?
No.
Yeah, out in backyard, mosquito bit me, I swatted it and I took its picture.
Well, that's a pretty attractive mosquito.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's the Aedes, it's the
Japan.
Asian tiger mosquito. So it does transmit disease, which we don't want.
It uses
So-
reply. Yeah. I didn't realize they had that cute little stripe on them.
Yes, they do. They also have little stripes on the legs. And this is how we, a lot of people do tend to identify them. This is my little damselfly.
Oh, cool.
So what I do when I do my photography is once I think I've gained the confidence of the insect in question, I literally just kind of inch my way closer and closer. So sometimes I can literally get up and do a face-to-face photograph with them.
Do you have any
Versus,
faces?
I don't know if I see, oh, this might be one of them. This is a little bit closer. I do like taking different angles, right?
That is a
This
standoff,
is-
yes.
All right, and my little lizards. All right, these are quite interesting. Let me see if there's a sharper image. These are tree hoppers. They're ant mimicking tree hoppers. This is the body here, and their shield or headpiece actually looks like an ant from when you look at it up above. So this again is mimicry. And this is one of the photographs one of the researchers wants to use in his research.
So that is not an ant?
No, it's not an ant, it's actually a tree hopper. So it's great disguise. This is another type of tree hopper. These are actually the babies of another type of tree hoppers called membraces. They're the little black and white ones I think a lot of people are used to seeing, but they just don't realize these are what the babies look like. Oh, this is one of my caterpillar photographs. I do have tons of photographs of all these various moths and butterflies. Right, so that's a pupa. Right, we actually see the old casing from the caterpillar, and this is the pupa that's about to transform into the moth. I have the moth. I don't have the moth. This is the southern white butterfly. This is its caterpillar. And again, you see the ruler because it's the scientific.
Well, that looks like a very beautiful skin. I don't know what you call it on a caterpillar, but it's a very beautiful finish to the caterpillar. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of times it's to try and blend in with their background so they're not easily snapped up either by wasps or birds.
Do they
So
not
this
have
is-
protective mechanisms themselves?
Some of them do. They can have, depending on the plant that they feed on, some of them can produce toxins so that if certain insects or birds try to eat them, the taste is so bad, it just kind of regurgitate everything.
And what about the little hairs on them? Are they protective?
Not on all of them. On this particular caterpillar, I think they're more sensory rather than like stings or anything like that. And this is is actually the casing of a bagworm moth. So totally different to this guy.
Do you have any of the transformation from the pupa into the butterfly, like the progressive? Do you have anything like that?
I do. You actually will get them more on the iNatural site. This is actually the pupa of the caterpillar we just saw. So this is what it looks like when it's in the process of transformation. Oh, and this is the adult that came out of the
Yes, yes,
casing.
yes, the transformation moment, that got me.
Mhm.
So that's the adult butterfly coming out of the pupa, or that's a pupa coming out of the caterpillar?
No, this is the butterfly here
Nice.
coming out of the pupal case. So it's
That's
actually
what I want.
still attached there.
That's what I wanted to capture, that moment of, in a way, final transformation.
Yeah, yeah. And it's, again, it works best for people who rear in aquarium type settings. This was just an absolute fluke for me. I just happened to see the butterfly fluttering on the fence, and I told her, "Are you trapped?" So but of course, I grabbed my phone, went to investigate, and I realized, oh my gosh. So I started to take photographs, and I captured this moment.
I'm so glad you
So
did.
yes.
Yeah.
All right, and this is what the adult looks like.
Now, how long would it be between coming out of the pupa and looking, sitting with its wings? Because they have to dry the wings, right?
Yes, it can take, usually it takes about half an hour to an hour, depending on the size of the butterfly and, well, external conditions. So obviously, the drier the weather, the wings will unfurl, and they will pump the lymph into the veins, which you see here, to expand and straighten out the wings before they take off.
Oh, how beautiful.
This is a different moth. I must say that I haven't been fortunate to find and document the full life cycles and the emergent moments for many of my subjects. Usually it's just, it's just hit and miss. So you happen to find these guys, they pose for you, you take the photographs, and then you look around to see if there are any eggs. But it's just that sometimes the eggs are hidden and they're really tiny. And I guess that's why some of the scientists will actually we'll rear them in, in captivity sort of stuff.
I understand.
All right. This is actually a fly. At first I thought it was a bee, but it's actually a fly. Oh, right. One of my dragonfly photos. Oh, all right. And these also bring me a lot of challenge because they are tiny. This is, literally a blade of grass.
What
So
is that, Maggie?
It's a grasshopper.
No.
Yes, it is. And it's amazing because I think that's what I also like about my jungle, because it's kind of a natural habitat. So you can see a wide variety of insect species. I think I've probably recorded over 200 species in my backyard alone.
Wow. And Maggie, there's no way I would have thought that was a grasshopper.
Yeah, it is. And I just find these guys are just so cute and adorable. And again, they challenge me with the macro lens. And of course, our backtrack.
I have lots of those, definitely. Oh.
Well, the birds, I'm hopeless with the birds because they're usually too far away and they usually fly off as soon as they see you.
Not my birds. Come by me. My birds are busy. I have one sitting in my living room watching us right now.
Well, you are the bird whisperer.
Oh gosh.
I think for you, it's the birds, especially the hummingbirds. And for me, it's more the butterflies and the little dragonflies and grasshoppers.
I think that is fantastic. Maggie, we are now at the point where we need to say, maybe if anybody has any questions, and then say goodbye. So thank you for showing those beautiful, interesting, different pictures, because those are not pictures that I typically see in my life. So thank you.
Right.
June and Tim,
You're welcome.
any questions for Maggie? And I'm wondering if any of the people on Facebook have any?
I have a question for Maggie. Is it possible to get a contact number for you? Because I have a little insect that I'm seeing regularly for the very first time, and I can't identify it. If I could get a snapshot, could you help in identifying what it is?
I can try, but it's just like I said, there are so many. But certainly, if I can't identify it offhand, I can put it onto the iNaturalist community site, and somebody may identify it.
Thanks, because I'm finding a lot of them in my home right now, and I've never seen it before.
Okay.
Maggie, I'm thinking that perhaps after people watch your show, you may find that you become quite the tribe expert on identifying insects, because we have people from all over the world and they might have things they want to share with you. So think about that possible new opportunity. So
yeah, that would be great. That would be great.
I am going to say on behalf of the tribe, Maggie, and those of us who have joined us, those who are going to watch the replay, that was fascinating. I thank you so much. And I thank all of you for joining us. Blessings.
Thank you, Maggie.
You're welcome. Thanks for the opportunity, Wendy.
You're most welcome. It was my pleasure.